You know, I never tried to hide the fact that, like, I'm the mechanical Amish, right? All of my cars, my own personal cars, have to fit this, like, absurdly narrow mechanical profile, right? It's a sickness. You know, simple. I like points, I like carburetors. Any harness that has more than like 5 wires in it, to me is like this unmanageable, you know, bed of snakes, right? But that's my sickness. It doesn't, and you know, it's ironic too, because I'm known for being one of the first guys to actually screw around with EFI in hot rods back in like the 1980s. So for me to go to this other end of the extreme, you know, where I resent electricity, it's a little crazy, but that's besides the point. I said it 1,000 times. I'd love to work on some of the newer stuff. I go to LS Fest and I'm like, oh God, I want to be a part of this. I love the imports. I wish somebody would bring me an import. I love like turbo cars. I wish somebody would bring me a turbo car. You know, I won't put a turbo in my own car because hot side plumbing, too complicated under the hood, no good, right? But just because I don't want the stuff in my life doesn't mean that I don't want to work with it, right? So here's what happens. A few weeks ago, talking to a bigwig at Holley. Hey, Bill. And he mentions to me that they're going to start a new event this year, right after LS Fest, called the MoParty, right? And they're doing this because they're introducing a whole line of Hemi-swap parts. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So he asked me, he says, do you want to bring anything to the event, right? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm really not big on Mopar events. They lost their luster after like the 5th time I had seen everything there is to see, maybe 30 years ago, right? So I'm like, well, you know, maybe I'll show up like that. So I hang up with him, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, hey, I was at Kiwi's last week, and he's got this Mitsubishi, this Starion. He's got this Starion, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. Late Hemi, right? Swap, MoParty, right? It's like, he was going to put a 360 in here. I says, hey, wait a minute. What if we put a late Hemi in this thing? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, hey, I don't have to buy it. I don't have to own it. I don't have to transport it, store it, do anything with it. Just build an engine, count me in. I don't even have to drive the damn thing, right?
I'm sure you'll want to.
Yeah, I'm not really a driver. You know what I mean? It's like, I like to work on this stuff. The rest of it, you know, everything else is anticlimactic. Once it lights, you turn the key and it lights, it's like, I'm done with it. Give me another. So here we are at Kiwi's Emporium, and here's the car, and here's Kiwi, and this is the basics. So we picked up a couple of core motors from my buddy Al, and this is a 5.7. So between now, right, this is the end of May, and September, we got to turn this into a functional car and go and be the class of the MoParty.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all. And show them what you got to do to this thing.
What do I got to do? It fits in it appears to fit in the hole reasonably well there, but we don't have a lot of room left here for all the engine accessories and then a radiator and that kind of thing. So we're going to push it all back probably about 6 inches, just to free up the room. We don't have to worry about what size fan we can squeeze in there, that kind of thing. We'll have room enough to play. We can put in what we want to put in, and also it'll help the weight balance of the car. We're trying to keep it lightweight as we can. It's going to be pretty well stripped out. It's not going to be a luxury hot rod. It'll be very functional.
It's in the spirit of everything we do in this channel. This is going to be as like basic and as budget as something like this can be. I don't think we're going to build this for like $300 like we did, you know, our last project. But
no, sadly, but yeah.
But you're paying for it, so I don't really care. You know. So you pulled a bunch of wires out of this thing.
Oh, we've pulled a huge amount of wiring out of it. They went crazy, the Japanese, back in the day.
Wait, this is just some of, you know, if you took all of my cars and added them together, there's not that much wire in it.
In all of them.
In all of them. That's...
But yeah, it was 88 was when the car was built, and it was really the beginning of the whole early stages of the electronic era. So they had relays that operated the window relay,
right?
And they just went a bit crazy on the wiring. But they were this was a high-end car, and it had a lot of like zoned air conditioning in a tiny little car,
Right.
all sorts of things that you really didn't need. So that's all going. We're just going to have on and off,
Right. Yeah.
headlights, tail lights, that's it.
Simple, basic, raw, crude. What do you think? This thing's probably only going to weigh maybe 3,000 pounds.
They're 3,200 off the showroom floor,
Okay.
which obviously we're going to take quite a bit of weight out of it. The Hemi's going to be a little bit heavier than the old 2.6 that was in it. So yeah, we're probably shooting for around 3,000 pounds by the time it's converted.
Well, this is 500 pounds more or less dressed. So
Right.
the original motor was.
I really don't know.
No.
I'm not up on the little 4-cylinder Japanese stuff, but it was probably 300, 350, something like that.
Oh, it was packed with stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
a
We
lot more
stripped
stuff.
a huge amount out of it. Yeah.
Just
So,
motor, car.
It'd be nice to be
So-
2,800, something like that. But
Oh, yeah.
it can be hard to tell. You take a lot of stuff out, and some of it doesn't weigh much, and some of it does.
So here's the plan with this. We're going to stop in on Kiwi once a week or so and catch updates on whatever fabrication and whatnot that he's got to do to the car. Is the rear end going to hold up to this thing?
Guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Exactly, yeah.
And if it doesn't, we can just put a library. They're independent rear, and many years ago, a friend of mine back in New Zealand had one of these with a 350 Chevy in it, which
Okay.
he used to rally, and it seemed to hang
It
in
lived.
for that. So we will see.
Yeah, I generally don't replace stuff until it breaks, and often until it breaks twice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, you just want to be sure. Say Grenado the second time, then change it.
They come with a limited slip, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Moving the engine back will give it a bit more traction, which won't help.
It
But-
goes well up to Spidey Goon.
Yeah, well, we'll just see if it bang. If it goes bang, well, that means it wasn't strong enough.
So we'll pop up once a week
Okay.
to check on the progress of this thing, the fabrication and that. And I'm going to build. This is just a mock-up motor. I'm going to build the actual motor that's going in this car at my shop. And we're going to actually do tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the piece by piece, component by component, because this is how I'm learning this engine. I've seen them and I've seen them apart, but I never really examined one. So tomorrow I'm actually going to start getting into the guts. I'm going to do some comparisons between the Gen 2, which I know like the back of my hand, the 426, and the Gen 3. So we'll do that with the block, we'll do that with the heads, and all of the different steps that we have to go through to build this thing. And I'm looking forward to this. And you know what I'm really looking forward to?
What's that?
I'm going to get to learn how to tune stuff with a laptop.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
With the Holley EFI.
yeah, I'm going into the future. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's the way it's going. Yeah, we're getting more and more cars through the shop with EFI now.
Well, you are. I keep points and carburetors on mine. Doesn't mean I don't want to work on it, though. It doesn't mean I don't want to master it.
Well, knowledge is good.
Knowledge is good. And this is good. And Holly's good. Thank you. So we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.